WNDS Sports and Tri-State Megabucks present Candlepin Skins. It's bowling with a whole new twist as New England's best bowlers battle for cash prizes in every box. Candlepin Skins is produced in conjunction with the New Hampshire Candlepin Bowling Association. And now your hosts, Doug Brown and Dan Murphy.
Hi, everybody, and welcome once again to the Londonderry Bowling Center here in Londonderry, New Hampshire, and another edition of Candlepin Skins here on the Winds of New England. Glad to have you with us. Doug Brown along with Dan Murphy, and we bring back, Dan, a couple of guys who advanced from last week. Chris Boisvert, who actually will be here for his third week in a row, and Bill Hart, our old friend from the doubles competition several years back, who made a name for himself. He'll be back for his second week in a row.
Yeah, they seem to like this format. They bowled very well the last couple weeks, and like I said, one's trying for the third week, and Billy's trying for his second one.
And we bring over a brand new group of bowlers from our recent roll-off to start this particular series here on Candlepin Skins as we welcome in 10 new bowlers. And the two guys who finished on the top of this most recent roll-off, John Plante from Manchester, New Hampshire, and Ed Marquis from North Andover, Massachusetts. They'll be joining us today also.
That's right. Both bowlers have been with us before, and this is the first time for Ed in the Skins format, but he's looking forward to it.
All right, and we will be looking forward to it, too. We have two games coming up here on Candlepin Skins, and we'll get right to the action from Londonderry right after these words. Don't go away. All right, as we mentioned, the just completed roll-off for Candlepin Skins competed at the Bowlerama in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Thanks to Nick Janamitis and Kathleen and all the crew over there for handling all the details. And John Plante was the big winner in the roll-off with 682. Ed Marquis right behind in second place. They will join us today. And in the coming weeks, these are some of the other bowlers you will see. Joe Ashline, Rich Hallberg, Don McCucci will be making his first appearance on Skins. Dave Richards and Bob Kelly, a couple of familiar names. Dave Driscoll making his first appearance on the Winds in a few weeks. Jim Woodsum, an old friend from years back, is back in New England. And Joe Rollins will be back with us again as well. So those are the guys who will be coming up in the weeks to come. But today we are all set to go. And Bill Hart, Chris Boisvert will start things off. The two returning bowlers from a week ago.
And Bill will get us started on lane 30.
Chris is on lane 29 here at the Londonderry Bowling Center, and we are underway. Not exactly spare leaves for either gentleman. We'll see what they do. Almost for Bill.
Good effort by Bill on the 3, 4, and 7. And missing the head pin. Chris Boisvert in lane 29.
10 for Bill. 10 for Chris.
Okay. Possible carryover with 10s. Not many times does that happen, though.
This first skin is worth $10. First three boxes in each game worth $10 apiece. Next three worth $15. Next three worth $25, and the 10th box in each game worth $50. Ed Marquis will look at the triangle, and John Plante will look at the 4-7. Couple of possible spares here.
Oh boy. Ed right on the object pin, the 3 pin, and he drove it right straight back between the 5 and the 6.
And John Plante takes the skin with the spare. And another 10 bucks. This one for Ed Marquis. But that's how it works here on Candlepin Skins. The high score in each box wins the skin, the dollar value assigned to the box. So spare beats 10. John Plante takes the $10 in this opening box. I mean, we're moved to box number 2, also worth $10. This may be the most confusing element of the way we do business here on Candlepin Skins now, but it's worth repeating right now, and probably something we don't repeat often enough. But as we looked at the scoreboard a moment ago, the spare by John Plante automatically wins the skin. Of course, nobody else had marked in that opening box, but say there had been a strike and a spare. Strike automatically beats spare regardless of the fill, and the fill never matters in terms of whether you win the skin or not. It's just what you do in that particular trip up to the line. The fill, of course, will count for total pinfall.
That's right. 2 spares up, one has 9, one has 8. That's no bearing, only on the total pinfall score. That's all, not for the skin.
Oh, big strike.
Like, those are the ones you want to get right there.
John Plante goes strike on spare.
Oh, Ed. Oh, that close to causing the carryover with another strike. Fortunately, 4-pin stays up.
John takes his second skin in a row. And Ed Marquis trying to nail down the single for the spare, and he's got it. His first mark. But John Plante has won the first 2 skins here. Third box also worth $10.
Still working for Billy Hart. Chris Boisvert right in the pocket,
oh, yeah.
And he gets the strike.
That's his first mark, and now Bill looking for his first, and he's robbed.
Tough piece of wood. 5 and 9. Wood deflected away from the 9-pin. Bill will get it for the 10. So Chris Boisvert leads for the skin because of this. 7-pin, and finally the 5. So this only can be a carryover, or it's a win for Chris. So both bowlers thinking strike. Ed first on lane 30. There's 1 down.
Filling his spare, though, with a 7. Chance for another. And no strike for John, so Chris Boisvert takes the skin. He may have a couple of spares here. John has possibilities with the wood. Ed misfires on his. Let's see what John can do. He can spray that wood over. Yes! Spare on strike.
Very nicely done by John Plante.
John's getting 20 at a time here. Here's that spare again.
Caps this, but he catches the second piece of wood all the way across to the left-hand corner to get the 7-pin. And so far, every skin has been won the first 3 boxes.
We move to the 4th now, which is worth $15. Chris Boisvert is a little heavy on the head pin.
And just the opposite for Bill. Just barely caught the head pin. He leaves himself the 3 and the 7 with a piece of wood in front of the 3, also 1 behind.
Not quite. For Chris, he'll settle for 9 on his strike. And there's a spare for Bill, his first mark. Putting a spare up in the 4th, taking the lead for the skin. Chris Boisvert takes a 10 box. A good look at John Plante, who started this match with 3 marks in a row.
He will fill that 3rd mark, the spare in the 3rd right now.
Big Phil, 8. Chance for another. Well, got a couple of chances for carryover here. Either guy spares. That will create the carryover. And there it is. John Plante takes care of it.
Ed pulls the ball left.
$10 for Ed.
So we have our first carryover with the 2 spares. There's 1 for Bill and 1 for John.
And here's an example of what we were talking about earlier. The fill does not matter. It's just an automatic carryover with the 2 spares up there. So now we move to the 5th box, which is worth $30, and Bill Hart fills his spare with 7.
So now some of you newcomers out there are wondering, so why do we keep score? The fills don't count. Well, remember, the 2 highest pinfall bowlers will come back next week. 2 string total. So 2 out of 4 of these bowlers will return next week to be joined by 2 new bowlers.
Joe Ashline and Rich Hallberg, to be specific, next week. Coming in. So open frames for both Bill and Chris there. Leaving the stage open for Ed and John. And although Ed already has a mark up there, as you see the spare in the second, he's had a couple of other opportunities he's let slip by, so he'll be trying to correct that now.
We'll try to do that with the 4 horsemen to the left. 1, 2, 4, and 7. Let's be careful that piece of wood between the 2 and the 4, though.
And John Plante will have the 4 horsemen right plus the 8 in the back.
Too light on the head pin for Ed.
For 5 marks in a row? No.
Whoa. We need a 10 box here for somebody to take the skin or carry it over. We got a 9 box showing up there so far.
Well, let's see.
Oh boy. John can steal another one with this ball.
10 wins the skin. And 83 through 5 for John Plante. He's our pinfall leader and our money leader to this point. We take a break from the Londonderry Bowling Center here on Candlepin Skins. Back we are. Box number 6, game 1. Chris Boisvert. And Bill Hart. Bill getting a nice mix, but still the 5 and 10 remain. See if Bill can make this one happen. Well, tried the wood down by the 10 pin. Not enough of an angle.
No. You would almost have to catch the 10 pin clean to turn that wood into the 5. Very difficult shot.
10 bucks for Bill.
Well, very seldom do we have a 10 box win a skin. We just had it in the 5th box, and right now the 10 box leads again by Bill Hart.
$15 skin here in the 6th. And John Plante.
Oh, he wants that 5 to go. 5-7 after a nice looking ball in the 1-3 pocket. Didn't carry the extra pin. Oh, big ball by Ed, leaves the 5.
See if John has a chance here. Oh, wow.
No, that wood cost him that. If that wood was not there, he would have thrown the 5 into the 10 pin. But the wood deflected in front.
And there's a spare to win the skin for Ed Marquis. Not only to win the skin, but to help him pick up some ground in total pinfall. There's a 10 box for John Plante. Let's see what happened on that.
Watch the piece of wood. It deflects it in front of the 10. Tough break. But John Plante comfortably out in front right now because of those 4 marks in the first 4 frames. Spare, strike, spare, spare.
Not quite for Bill.
Quite as right, but that 7 pin was rocking. Not sure if the pin hit it or the curtain. $10 boxes for both Bill and Chris, each of them only with 1 mark to this point. $25 skin here in the 7th. Ed Marquis checking the scoreboard. He's working on a spare, as you see. A little off target, but got away with it. Oh, did he ever. The 1 and the 9 pins is all he has left. The 8 pin drop on that spare.
John, nice mix for John Plante, too.
John continues to assault that head pin with that first ball, and his score shows it. I don't think he's missed it once.
And a nice spare for Ed Marquis. Fine shot on the 1 and 9.
This wood is way out in front of the 5 and 8.
And
oh!
Anyway, to create the carryover.
Oh, he took that skin right out of Ed's pocket. Oh.
John with a little smile.
Right here, I said no chance, and all of a sudden the wood comes off the wall for the 5, creates the double spare and the carry.
And making this 8th box worth $50. And Chris Boisvert almost threw the strike at the big moment.
5-pin, piece of wood in front of it, wants to stay at least the red line or to the left. Doesn't want to go too far right, and he'll snap that pin around the 5-pin. Bill Plante looking at the 1, 2, 4, and 10.
Spare for Chris. And John, or rather Bill, will take 8. Bill finding himself in 4th place now. Total pinfall. As Ed Marquis has started to warm up a little bit. John Plante has been warm all day. That's a 7 fill on a spare. Now Ed on his spare. Right in the pocket.
Well, goes that theory, right, Ed? You missed the head pin last box and got the 1 and the 9, and this time you bury it in the pocket and leave yourself the 4, 7, 10.
Well, Chris Boisvert's spare is looking pretty good now for the skin as John Plante is unable to convert. Let's see if Bill can pull something off here. Nope, so give the skin for $50 to Chris Boisvert. A 10 for John. 120 through 8 for John Plante. And make it a 9 for Ed Marquis. So there's the situation. How about it one time? Not to be for Bill Hart. $10 for Bill. And 10 for Chris, giving him an even 100 through 9. I make it 103 through 9.
Oh, big ball by Ed, just leaving the 6-pin. And that's the first time I believe John's missed the head pin with the first ball in this game. He's already at 120 through 8. Ed is 97 through 8. This first spare is right on it.
And could very well be for the skin unless John Plante can convert this. No. So give that skin $25 to Ed Marquis. And John Plante trying to throw the bailout ball now. No fooling around with the inside on that third ball.
No, grab as many as you can.
Make sure you hit the big part.
That's right.
For a 7 box. And we move to the 10th, which is now worth $50.
So the only one that has not got a skin yet is Billy Hart.
Bill coming up just a little short on the head pin that time. Oh, great shot.
Absolutely was.
What a great shot for a spare. No wood. And there's a spare for Bill Hart that he needed. His second mark of the game. But let's take a look at this spectacular shot by Chris Boisvert. Wow.
1, 2, 7, 9, and 10.
And now it's going to take a strike to win the skin. Just 4 is the fill for Chris. 117 for his opening game. Bill takes 7, 108. So their first string is in the books. Two spares up there, creating the likely carryover unless either Ed or John throws a strike here. Pretty good ball, but
it was
not good enough for John.
Last chance, or we'll carry the $50 skin over to the second game.
Ed working on a spare here also. Oh, and he fires the spread eagle. And John Plante is going to extend his lead here in the 10th box with another mark.
Good try by Ed. Cleared out the 3, 6, and 10.
Well, Ed, after a slow start, is going to be in second place in total pinfall here after game 1. Fine 10 box, 121. Now that leaves time for John Plante, who has 1 ball to throw. We will have a carryover, obviously, to game 2. The first box in the next game will be worth $60. John Plante, 137 plus. Just 4. 141 for John Plante in the opening game. Good for a 20-pin lead over his closest competitor. We'll be back with game 2 on Candlepin Skins after these words. Here's our Skins tote board for game 1. Chris Boisvert up at the lead with $60, and John Plante close behind. Ed Marquis is also on the board. The only guy without a skin so far is Bill Hart, and so coincidentally, Bill is going to start game 2 here at the Londonderry Bowling Center. Big story in game 1, that 141 by John Plante to carry the overall lead into game 2. And wow, how about that ball?
He just threw his hands up, and I don't blame you, Bill. That was those first 8 pins just flew out of there. He's got the 7 and 9 pins left. A piece of wood in front of the 9, as you can see. I don't know if he can make that move or not.
No. Good try, though. Wow. Bill with just 2 marks in the first game, and really should have had a strike, if not an easy spare leave there. $60 skin here to open game 2 with the carryover. Chris Boisvert. And he'll look at the spread eagle. Chris first burst onto the scene in a television sense last spring in the New Hampshire State Candlepin Championship, televised here on the Winds of New England. Fine young bowler. Speaking of the State Candlepin Championship, it's just a few weeks away now here on the Winds of New England. Begins on May 11th. That's 5 weeks from today, May 11th.
A little different twist this year, too, where it's...
yeah, a different format this year.
Going to be interesting if the matches will be carried over 2 weeks, because it's going to be a 6-game total.
So we're going to have, starting May 11th, 2 weeks of the ladies' final, and then 2 weeks for the men's final. Well, Ed Marquis has done a lot of that, kind of looking up, shaking his head, missing.
Well, he was on the object pin, the 4-pin, but was just a tad too heavy. Left the 7-pin, and wonders how you can be that close and not make the spare. So it's a 10 box. Will Bill Hart win his first skin with a 10 box?
And a $60 skin at that.
That's right. This guy might have something to say about that.
Oh, right on the head pin. And a spare leave on the 610. Well, it's been John Plante's day so far, and it shows no sign of changing, at least not yet. That's a $60 spare for John Plante, and he now has $110 in Skins prize money.
call your attention to the bottom of the screen when we show the scoreboard. As you people well know now, it's a running total. First game with every box that's bowled here in the second, so you can keep an eye on total pinfall along with us. Remember, the highest 2 bowlers come back next week. Billy Hart right through the middle, 1, 5, and 9.
And Bill will take an 8 box. Well, if you presume that John Plante is in reasonably good shape, given the fact that he's got what'll be about a 25 pin or so lead here after the first box of game 2, then it's a 3-way battle, and a very tight 3-way battle for second right now.
Yeah, Bill's having some rough luck, but as I look at it, he's only a mark or 2 away from the other 2 bowlers, so.
No, not quite for Chris. He'll take the 10. Let's take another look at that spare attempt. He almost got that wood over there. Not quite. Ed Marquis has 4 marks in the match, but I think he feels he probably could have 2 or 3 more.
4 horsemen plus the 8 pin for Ed.
And once again, John Plante will come up, knowing that if he marks, he'll automatically win the skin. Box. 10 leads for the skin, but here comes John Plante working on a spare. Oh, look out. Oh, how about this?
God.
Oh, when was the last time we saw this? Have we ever seen this?
Oh, that's the 4 or 5 and a half.
Wow. Sure, we can laugh. We don't have to shoot
That's
at
right.
Even a 10 box would be a good accomplishment here. Oh, my.
You know who's smiling right now? Chris Boisvert. He's going to win this skin with a 10 box.
There it is. Worth $10 for Chris. The 4 and 5 with no wood. I don't know if we've ever seen that. Bill Hart finally gets a break.
Bill Hart's in last place. However, he's only 13 pins out of second.
Oh, got caught in the middle there.
I think he was maybe a little indecisive about play the wood or play the pin, and he was in between.
It'll be a 10 box. Pretty good ball by Chris Boisvert, but fortunate that he got that little tap on the 10 pin. Could very easily have been the 4-10, but instead it's just a 4 pin with a plank in front of it and an easy spare for Chris.
Trying to make a move on second place, which would be this gentleman right here, Ed Marquis. Half Worcester right. 7 for Ed, 146, so he's only 1 pin ahead of Chris, as you can see, but Chris is working on a spare. And then there's John Plante. Needs a strike to win the skin outright or a spare to carry it over. Hello. 6, 7, 9. To shoot this one just like the 10 pin was up.
About the best thing you can say about this is he has a much better chance at this than he had at the 4-5.
Right. Actually, had to play the 6 spin on the right-hand side and kind of dance everything to the left, but Chris Boisvert winning himself another skin.
John will take a 9 box. Fourth box now worth $15. And Bill Hart could use a break. Bill Hart from Pepperell, Mass. And there's a big first ball, leaving the 8 pin. Bill works for Star Market. He and his wife Diane have 2 daughters, 6-year-old Amanda and 3-year-old Katrina. And there is a spare for Bill. A much needed spare, to be sure. Now Chris Boisvert filling a spare. As this great 3-way battle for second continues, and Chris will take 8.
And a difficult spare leave, not in the 2 pins that are standing, but because of the angle of the wood. However, he's got another piece to the right. I might take my chance on that one, red line and below, and deflect the ball into the 4-7.
Oh yeah, great shot. Really the only legitimate option he had, because trying to touch that wood in the front probably would have done nothing.
Well, possibility of the carryover exists now with the 2 spares. Take a strike now to win it outright.
Ed looking for his first mark here in game 2.
Wow. 6, 7, 9, 10. Triangle in the right-hand corner with the 7 pin over on the left. Have to play the triangle and hope you can get something to move from right to left.
Oh my.
It's flush on the 6 pin.
Ed Marquis, self-employed from North Andover, Massachusetts. Takes an 8 box, still without a mark here in this second game. Oh, big ball for John Plante. I guess that makes up for the previous 2 leaves. Not enough to win the skin, though. That'll create the carryover. Look out. Whoa. High on that wood. But he takes it out for the spare.
No problem, John says. No problem.
So 3 spares across in that 4th box. The 5th box now worth $30, and Bill Hart will fire first. Important fill ball here for Bill Hart. Big one, 8. And a chance for another spare.
6 and 9 pins. Gotta have a piece of the 6 pin.
Oh yes, very confident throw there for Bill Hart as he puts marks back to back for the first time in this match. Chris Boisvert also working on a spare. Pulled that ball a little bit. 4 horsemen right. Oh yes, ran it down beautifully. That's 3 spares in a row for Chris Boisvert.
Well, he's trying to make a statement for that 2nd place spot. However, he's creeping slowly, ever so slowly, on the heels of John Plante. Really, Hart seems to have it together right now, but can't seem to jump ahead of Chris. Ed needs a mark. Right in the pocket again, a little light on the 1-2. Leaves himself the cluster of 5 in the right-hand corner. 3, 5, 6, 9, and 10.
box for Ed. So John Plante steps up again, knowing that if he strikes, he'll win the skin. He's also trying to protect his lead here. Fills his spare with 6. So we'll have another carryover. Our first 3-box carryover of the day. Well, John, as you mentioned, Dan, still in the lead, but Chris Boisvert threatening to overtake him here with 3 marks in a row, and just a 7-box for John Plante. We will take a break and be back with more on Candlepin Skins after these words. Bill Hart trying to make a charge here. He's got 2 spares in a row.
And he trails second place Chris Boisvert by 15. Both bowlers working on spares.
Oh, Bill really turned that one over. He caught the Brooklyn pocket, though.
A little too light, though. He got half dozen on the spare. Leaves himself to 5, 6, 9, 10. And he's got a double piece of wood in front of the 5. I think he's going to try to move that around, see if he can. Oh, yes. Great shot. 3 in a row.
Yep. So Bill and Chris, who each had a problem getting started in game 1, have heated up here in game 2 with 3 marks in a row.
Interesting. Early in the match, the emphasis seems to be on the skins, and as the match progresses, it's more and more emphasis on the total pinfall. Yeah, you said we never see that. Well, now we've seen it twice in the same day.
Maybe we have seen it before. Maybe I just didn't remember. I know we've seen it before now. Wow.
4 and 5. So he'll be open. Billy Hart has a spare up. Change that second place spot, make it a little closer.
9 bucks.
Plus it gives Bill a possibility for a skin.
Bill has yet to win a skin today. Ed Marquis could really use a mark here. Ed running 4th at this moment, and he's just had trouble staying consistently on the target pin, whether it be his first ball or his second.
And of course, there's the element of luck come in, and you know, early in the match or early in this game, Ed had the 4-7 and took out just the 4-pin, that time leaving the 3-pin in that cluster of 5. So a little bit of bad luck for Ed also. Gives him 52 after 6 and 173.
Well, Bill Hart may win his first skin here. It's worth $45 unless John Plante can take it away.
It's been a while since John's thrown a strike, so well, he's going to have to make a difficult spare in the 4 horsemen left plus the 9-pin to create the carryover. Bill has everything crossed that can be crossed, hoping for this skin. Uh-oh, look out. Look out!
Took it away.
Gee.
Great shot for the spare, and look who's first there to congratulate him is Bill Hart.
Yeah, but what did he say to them? Makes it look good on camera. Bill's a good sport. He needs a strike here, and then mind the skins now. He's fighting for the second place. Right in the pocket. Hello,
needs
come
the
on.
10-pin to go out. Wow. Oof. What a funny ball that was.
The 4, 7, 8, and 10. 3 pieces of wood stretched across the lane. I'd probably go the red line of that right piece and kind of throw the other one into the triangle. No, it's on the other side.
No, nothing on the 10-pin.
Well, I came closer than I thought he would be playing it there. Got the triangle, left the 10.
Gonna have to have a piece of wood, that piece of wood cleaned out. Way out of play in front of the 10-pin. Actually is rolling back some a little bit now, but it is stopping and is out of play. Bill Hart will wait for it to be moved out of the way. So Bill's consecutive mark streak ends at 3, but more importantly, he still finds himself probably 2 marks out of second place right now. So that's what you have to look at is, you know, in this situation, it's funny, Dan, you were talking about the emphasis shifting from the skins in the first game to total pinfall. You also shift your emphasis, I think, at this point in the match, not only from first place, but to second place.
That's right.
Because you know that that's all you need to advance. There's no difference between first and second in terms of advancing.
9-10 left for Chris Boisvert. Wants some of that wood to stick around. Not going to happen. A little bit of ingenuity here on the 9-10. You got to play that piece of wood and somehow turn it into the 10-pin.
Nope. Remember, we've got a $70 skin working here, largest one of the day, here in the 7th box. $10.
Keeps that 10-pin advantage over Bill Hart.
Very difficult 10 too with that wood in the channel.
Not out of it yet is Ed Marquis, if he can put some marks up. He hasn't had a mark this game.
Missing the head pin. Ed just turns away. Oh, he was hoping to catch the head pin and he just missed it to the right. Takes a 9 box. The 10 boxes lead for, or not lead for the skin, but create the possible carryover right now unless John Plante can put a mark up. John won a skin with a 10 box earlier in the match. So did Chris Boisvert. And you might have heard John when he let that ball go. He knew it was not going to be good.
Gives him 5 on the spare. 1, 2, 4, 6, and 10.
Worth $70 if he makes it. Oh. So another carryover. Making up for all those times we didn't have carryovers early in the match. We've got a bunch going right now. This will be the 5th box now without a skin, and 5th box with a carryover, I should say, and it's worth $95 here in the 8th.
I think now the bowlers are thinking a little more about the skin now. It's starting to grow.
Bill Hart 10 pins out of second place at the moment.
And not an easy spare leave. 3, 6, 4, and 7. No wood at all on the plate. Good effort. Wants to keep pinning though, in case Chris was come up with a bad frame, he'd be within a mark. Just a 9 box though. Chris Boisvert now on lane 30. Not only like a strike for the skin, but also pushed Billy Hart a little further away from him in the total pinfall race.
Chris is off target. Has a makeable shot though, the 1, 2, 7, and 10 with a piece of wood. No. It'll be a 9 box for Chris. Ed Marquis could really improve his situation here with a mark, with Bill and Chris going open here in the 8th. Ed missing the head pin again, but he's got an opportunity here.
The 1, 3, and 10. Piece of wood now is rolling back towards the 10 pin, which will help some. But again, his problem, this string has been missing that head pin with the first ball. He's definitely got to catch it now.
Maybe.
Yes, just catching it. That keeps his hopes alive.
It's his first mark of the second game and may win him a skin. Who knows?
A big skin it would be.
John Plante still comfortably in the pinfall lead, and he will have a spare leave. Could be headed for another carryover. No, it goes to Ed Marquis, $95.
How about this scenario? The guy that's been struggling the most, especially the second game, comes up with the biggest skin.
And he now is the overall money leader. Ed Marquis with $135.
I gave the skin to the wrong person. I'll correct that.
And Bill Hart is still without a skin. $25 as you see here in the ninth. And Ed just can't break up the split. Or rather, Bill can't break up the split. He's still 10 pins behind Chris Boisvert for second. Big shot here. Oh, yeah. Great shot there. Keeps him in the hunt.
Certainly does. Chris can't afford to let up. There's the wood effectively behind it. 2 and 4. No. Diamond leave. 3, 5, 6, and 9 for Chris Boisvert.
Oh, fine shot.
Clutch shot there by Chris. Keeping pace with Bill Hart.
They help him hold on to second place. Ed Marquis not out of it, particularly if he were to throw a big mark here. Ed trying to clean out a piece of dead wood in the channel. And now he's going to have to re-rack. But he's over on lane 30, so he's doing that house cleaning for John Plante right now. Big ball here for Ed. Can't break it up. One of the better first balls he's thrown.
6, 7, 2 pieces of wood in between. The only problem is the ball's going to, if he hits the front when the ball is going to fly up over the second piece, he's going to have that first piece, I think, do all the damage. Let's see what happens.
Oh, the ball is back. Oh, and just missed. Ed thought he might be able to steal one. Well, the good news for Ed is, even though time is running out, it appears he won't be able to catch second place, but he did come up with that big $95 skin in the last box, and he almost made a terrific shot here.
Ball did fly up over that second piece, but didn't count on it coming back. Just barely missed that last pin. John Plante cruising now. There's no problem there. He's just thinking about skins.
But he won't get this one. It'll be a carryover, and the last skin of the day will be worth $75.
Well, actually, you can't be too careful. You can't afford a bad box, that's for sure. Bill Hart is 18 pins behind him, and Chris Boisvert is only 8 behind, and he's working on a spare. Both balls working on a spare.
Wow, played the inside route again on the third ball and cleans it up with a 9. Big shot right there for John. That should keep him safe.
That's it. 2-box would not have helped him, that's for sure.
2-box might have made things interesting.
Yeah.
So the last skin of the day, it's a big one, and Bill Hart gets first crack at it.
He needs a big fill and another mark. He's right in the pocket. Oh, boy. Well, there's the big fill.
We have only seen 2 strikes this entire show. One by Chris Boisvert and one by John Plante. There have been none in this second game.
Early in the match, too.
Yep. Single pin for a spare for Bill Hart.
Keeps his hopes alive. He would want it. Same fill as this last one.
Yeah, he needs a big fill. Yep.
Put the pressure on Chris to possibly have to throw another mark.
Bill is at 234 plus this ball. And it will be 6 for a 240. A 132 in this second game, 240 total for Bill Hart.
Chris Boisvert can't afford a bad fill. That's the only thing. He gets 7 or 8, he's in. 5 fill and 10 box would give him a tie. Ooh, 6.
6.
Hang on. Needs a 10 box, I believe.
Yes, he does.
10 bucks to beat Bill Hart by a pin.
How about a spare? Oh my. Well, they're tied right now.
Huge pin right here.
Got it. The
yes.
single pin for second place by 1 over Bill Hart. Wow. See, even with a triple strike, Ed Marquis could just match Bill Hart's 240, and John Plante is already safely in. So we know the order of finish. What we don't know is who's going to walk away with this last $75 skin.
Right now, Bill Hart has a spare up. Ed's pretty good opportunity here in the 2 and 5. Be careful, the piece of wood behind the 2-pin will deaden the ball and the 2-pin. Be careful it doesn't deflect everything around the 5.
Got it.
That creates the possible carryover. Unless John Plante could throw a strike. I was going to say, not now, Ed.
Oh, boy.
No, isn't that the way?
First strike of the day. First and only strike of the day for Ed Marquis. And he will finish up with 230. So as we mentioned, a terrific three-way battle for second here.
John can let fly with this one. Wants to strike. Hang on. If it falls backwards. Oh.
No, so we're going to have at least one extra box to decide this last skin. Spare for John. He's going to have a fine 2-game total. At a 141 opening game.
He's at 252 right now.
And the fill will be 7. 118 for a 2-game total. 259. John Plante, the overall pinfall winner. We'll be back to decide this last skin when we return. Don't go away.